What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something serious, and that is whether or not you should ever give up on the people in your life who you love. Damn, yeah, I said it. But, I think this is a very important topic. I don't think many people talk about it, and I happen to have some opinions, so let's get into it. All right, well, I'll start by saying this. There is really only one person who you should absolutely, under any circumstances, never ever give up on, and that is yourself. You guys, you can't pour from an empty glass. You have to love yourself, and you have to never give up on yourself, because once you've given up on yourself, you're absolutely no good to anybody. Now that that's out of the way, let's get down to it. Should you give up on the people that you love? Overwhelmingly, I'm going to say the answer to that question should be a resounding no. But there is one exception, and that exception is when that person has given up on themselves. Now, it can be hard to distinguish the difference between somebody who has truly given up on themselves versus somebody who is just in a really rough spot, a rock bottom. And rock bottom is a funny thing, because I've seen people hit rock bottom and turns out there was lower to go, right? So in situations like that, when you've seen somebody hit rock bottom and then swear they're going to make a change, swear they want help, swear this, swear that, and they might do all right for a while, and then next thing you know, they're right back to their old ways. It can be extremely disheartening, and it can cause you to ask yourself, man, is this person even worth the trouble of trying to help? It's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that's extremely true. I've found that in myself, and I've found that when I've tried to help other people. Now, speaking for myself, I used to use drugs, smoke weed, drink, do all types of shit like that. And there were people in my life who loved me for a long time, who wanted me to quit doing those things. But I was not ready to quit. So I would lie about it, I would hide it, or I would just downright say, you need to fucking deal with it because I'm going to do what I do. And what that means is people are not going to change because you want them to. They're only going to change when they're ready to change. And sometimes, even when somebody is ready to change, they're still not ready to change. Now, for me in my life, without going into too much detail, alcoholism has been a big one, right? I have family members who struggle with their alcohol addiction, and it has been absolutely devastating to see the effects that it's had on their life and the absolute hell it has put them through. Through it all, I've always been there to lend a helping hand and to not give up on that person. And at the end of the day, that means more than just about anything. Now, on the other hand, I've dealt with family members who have given up on themselves, not to any particular substance addiction or a situational addiction or anything like that, but just seeming like they've given up on life. And that is extremely sad and hard to deal with when we're talking about somebody you love. That's why I want to talk about this, right? If you find yourself in a situation like I have, where somebody you really love and care for, from your perspective, has just completely given up on life, they stopped taking care of themselves, they've stopped striving to be better, they've stopped trying to make any forward positive progress in their lives. And, to put it bluntly, people like that can become a huge burden on their family. And it doesn't mean you don't love them, but it starts to take its toll after a while. So it's important to identify when somebody has given up on themselves. And when they have, does that mean you should give up on them? Well, let's define what giving up on somebody means. Does it mean you don't love them anymore? No, it doesn't mean that. Does it mean that you don't talk to them anymore? Doesn't mean that either. Does it mean that if they have a sudden change of heart and they decide they want better for themselves and they need some help and they're willing to be receptive to help, that you shouldn't give it to them? No, it doesn't mean that either. It just means that you have to take a step back. I always say, like, in situations like these, I say to myself, Steven, you just got to throw your hands up and just take a step back and remove yourself, at least emotionally, from the situation, right? You cannot put your own well-being at risk by being so invested in their well-being when they're not even invested in their own well-being. And that can be hard to do, but it's important, because if you don't, you will drain yourself emotionally, and that in return will have a negative effect on the people around you who love you and who care about you and who rely on you. So it's a bit of a delicate situation, right? Let's talk about substance abuse, alcoholism, those sorts of things. I'm a firm believer that people are capable of incredible change, and I've seen it firsthand. People are extremely resilient. Now, when people are struggling with addiction, the addiction takes over, right? The addiction takes control, the substances take control, and people who love you and care about you will lie to you. They will say extremely hurtful things to you. They will, they'll steal from you. They'll hurt you. They will just turn into somebody who you don't recognize. And it can be deeply disturbing to witness. And it can really bring up a lot of feelings of resentment and downright hate. But you have to understand that that's not truly who that person is. They are under the influence. They have been taken over by their addictions, and quite frankly, they need help. Now, the sad, unfortunate truth is, not everyone who suffers from addictions is gonna make it, right? Some people succumb to their addictions and they die horrible deaths, and they die having had their last conversations with their loved ones been that where they said terrible things to those people, and that can really do generational damage within families. So if you know somebody who's struggling, or if you yourself are struggling, you need to really take a good long look at yourself in the mirror, a good long sober look at yourself in the mirror, and say, man, why am I doing this? And what effect is it having on me and the people that I love? I know people personally who are very close to me who have, been rushed to the hospital more times than I can count on my fingers and my toes because of substance abuse. I myself have been hospitalized for substance abuse. I've been to inpatient rehabs. I have families who have been to inpatient rehabs. I have had friends who I've watched, shoot drugs into their arms intravenously, who have robbed, lied, cheated because of their addictions. And it's just really, really fucking ugly, guys. And symbolically, I like to think of the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? I think that is a very apt symbol for people regaining their health and control of their life once they've dropped these vices and these addictions. And I think a lot of times the people who make it out of a really dark place is only because of the perseverance of their loved ones who are trying to help them. Now, at the end of the day, it's on you. It's on that person, right? But what I've witnessed is that support from your family, from your friends, from your community seems to be one of the biggest components of somebody successfully turning their life around. And, loneliness is becoming an epidemic here in our society. More people are turning to vices to numb themselves from whatever it is they see wrong with their lives. And, it's sad to witness, and it's a dark road to go down. And I don't want that for the people that I love, certainly. And I don't want it for y'all. I don't want it for myself. And I know you don't want it for the people that you love. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this one up. And the message I'm trying to send out there to the world is that don't give up on the people that you love. Now the caveat is some people have given up on themselves. And once they've done that, there's not much you can do. So be there for them if they change their mind, but don't invest yourself emotionally into their well-being, because they're not even worried about themselves, and that's only going to drag you down. And first and foremost, you have to protect yourself. But just because somebody's struggling does not mean that they've given up on themselves. And chances are, as much as they try to push you away, they need you more than ever. So if you know somebody who's struggling, do your best to help them, especially if it's somebody that you love and that you care for. They might fuck up 27 times, but as long as they get up and they dust themselves off and they keep trying, then there's still hope, and you should still be there for them. So guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate you taking the time, and until next time, peace.